Welcome to the World of Horror Podcast, episode 114. I'm Mom.
And I'm Mac.
This is the podcast where we share our love of international horror. Fear is universal, but we are not afraid of subtitles. WoHos! This week, we're taking a side road from our normal program, and we are looking at two films from a director we like a lot, Ti West. We reviewed The House of the Devil from 2009 and The Innkeepers from 2011. Before we get into it, fair warning, these discussions will include spoilers and language which may not be suitable for all listeners.
Like fuck.
And balls. I think we should just bring balls back, just as an exclamation.
Did it ever leave?
Let's move on to our first segment, Mom and Mac chat. Hi, Mac. How's it going?
Hi, Mom. It's okay. I had a really long day at work, and my boss literally said to me, I mean, not out loud over Teams, but that she was very irritated. Not at me, but that was the vibe for the day. Just irritation. But it's almost Friday, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Last
what
Saturday, or what were you going to say?
I was going to ask what's on your t-shirt, but what happened last Saturday?
Oh, last Saturday, Alan and I went to the store, got a box of cookies. I was like, maybe I'll now eat a cookie. Grabbed it, put it on the counter. Ants explode everywhere from the box of cookies. I look in the pantry, and there's ants, like, literally all over the pantry, just, like, overnight they came. And we had just gotten an exterminator to spray, and I'd never seen them that bad in this house before, so I just was, like, miserable, just, like, you know, our pantry's still empty. The corpses of dead ants are still there, just because I don't want to get in there, so now all of our food is just on the, like, table in the kitchen. And then on Sunday, when I wake up, I go, ants are all over the sink and the counter. So I'm just like, not that I cook anyway, but now I really can't cook because my kitchen just feels hostile. So a guy came in yesterday to spray again and put more ant traps down, and I haven't seen them since. But just stuff like that is, like, honestly kind of traumatizing. Like, I don't even want to be in there now, and I don't trust having any food out anywhere. So, yeah, I've just been, like, really, like, bone tired this whole week, and I just feel, like, angry and annoyed all the time. I'm trying not to, but I do. Less today, thankfully, but
I'm glad you had somebody to come in. I sent you a bunch of ant traps and those sonic repellers. I'm also very tired. I don't know, maybe it's just, like, August malaise, you know? It's just, like, sick of summer. I'm going back into the classroom on Monday, and I enjoy being in the classroom, but I had wanted to get my whole class, all 16 weeks, like, programmed and, you know, in there so I could have a more relaxing semester. I have 2 weeks in there, and I was stressing out about it. But my friend Katina was like, you know, the first week is usually pretty chill, which is true. You just sort of meet people and send out announcements and assign stuff. But I don't have anything to grade. So that can just be another week of planning, you know? And then I talked to my friend Tom, and he was like, yeah, if you get, like, 3 weeks ready, that's good, you know? And I was like, oh, I know, but I had wanted to get the whole thing, like, all done, and I didn't. But whatever, it is what it is, and
yeah,
it'll be fine, because it always is. But also, one of my side hustles usually starts a week later, but they're starting on the same day, so I didn't prepare for that. So it might be a very busy weekend, but that's okay. It'll all work out. And it really, there's not anything in my life worth getting stressed out about. So I don't have to. I just, I need to put things into perspective and, relax. And I'll get better. I guess I have gotten better over time at, being more prepared for things. And so there's no reason to think that will stop suddenly. I'm taking on a new job in, I think it's end of September, which is an accelerated course. It's about 3 times as fast, but it's, some more money. So that's good. And it's a different way of doing things. So hopefully I'll learn from that experience too. So it's all fine.
It'll be fine.
Oh, I did want to mention a couple of pod-related things. We were on with Comfortfilms Podcast as guests, and we talked about Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby. And that was a ton of fun. That was a great combo. So WoHos, I hope you'll check that out. And also, I wanted to mention that friend of the show, Eric Winick from Scare You, has set up a Slack for horror podcasters. And so it's kind of, I don't know from Discord, but to me it seems like a less chaotic Discord, like the platform itself.
Mm-hmm.
So you have different channels and you can communicate in these different channels, but it's set up for horror podcasters and it seems like a very supportive community so far. I'm enjoying it. So WoHos out there, if you're interested in that and communicating with other horror podcasters, get in touch with me or with Eric and we'll get you set up.
Nice.
Okay, well, maybe we should get into these cool movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to do House of the Devil, right? Is that right? Okay.
Devil?
The Devil. Debbil. Devil. Actually, I thought this one came after the Innkeepers, but nope. So,
I didn't realize it came out in 2009. I was like shocked, actually.
That was that long ago?
Yeah. I can't comprehend that it was that long ago.
Okay, I'm trying to I think I did the math right. If I did the math correctly, Ty West was 27 when he made that movie. Well, 26 when he made it.
That's so weird to think about.
I know, it's upsetting.
I don't like being 27 anymore.
Well, it's just like really highly talented, accomplished people.
They can go fuck off.
They can fuck right off. Okay, so in 1983, when Ty was 2, financially struggling college student Samantha Hughes takes a strange babysitting job that coincides with a full lunar eclipse. She slowly realizes her clients harbor a terrifying secret, putting her life in mortal danger.
Emphasis on the slowly.
Okay. I like it, but it's not for everybody, and I appreciate that. But I will defend this movie until my dying breath.
Jesus Christ, okay.
Although there's one section I cannot defend, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, it was written and directed by Ty West. It stars Jocelyn Donahue, Tom Noonan, Mary Warrenoff, Greta Gerwig, A.J. Bowen, and Dee Wallace. The cinematography is by Elliot Rocket, and Elliot, I think you are the cinematographer for both of these films, and we'd really love to talk to you.
You're amazing.
It was also edited by Ty. The release, as I call him, the release dates for April 25th, 2009 at Tribeca and October 30th, 2009 in the US, and it has a running time of 95 minutes. Before the title card, we get a little text which says, during the 1980s, over 70% of American adults believed in the existence of abusive satanic cults. Another 30% rationalized the lack of evidence due to government interference. The following is based on true, unexplained events.
Like, all of that is not true. Every word written.
That's 100%.
Like, absolutely everything.
There was no critical thinking in the 80s. That's pretty ballsy.
As somebody alive in the 80s, would you say that there were that many people who believed in the existence of abusive satanic cults?
No, but there were more than you would want or expect. I mean, it was something that, I mean, no one should believe in the existence of abusive satanic cults in any time period, but people did. But
I mean, that in itself does not shock me, just because you could say the same thing about, people who believe in like fucking Pizzagate and shit like that. I mean,
right,
that's
exactly.
the same exact thing. And like the idea that Antifa is going to knock down your door is like, those are the same people, I feel like.
Yeah. I would say, yes, probably so. The people who believe in Pizzagate today are the children and grandchildren of the people who believed in fucking satanic cults in the 80s.
Yeah.
So we meet our a hero, Samantha. She wants to rent a $300 apartment.
Wait, I gotta look up how.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
Well, okay. Actually, I didn't. I think it's no, I didn't look up 300. I looked up 400 because that's $1,225, because that's the price that she settles on.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
so
good for
I don't.
Today.
Yeah. So I don't know how to do math, but $100 is more like $300 today. I don't know. Somebody do the math, but I mean, but how much of this house is she renting?
That's
by the way.
This is a giant ass house. Like,
yes.
Why are you looking at this one? Is my question. Like, you do not need this much space. Maybe she feels like she does because she lives in a stifling dorm room. But like, I feel like the opposite though is true. Is like college students, if you give them a cardboard box that's a little bit bigger than the cardboard box that they currently live in, but they get that cardboard box to themselves, they'll be like, this is a mansion. So
yeah, I mean, this is a huge house. Maybe it's just the bottom part of the house, but in any event, you certainly would be paying probably 10 times that much, today. But anyway, and Dee Wallace is the landlady, and she really likes Samantha a lot. She reminds her of her daughter. She waives all the deposits, And so this makes Samantha very happy, and she walks off smiling into a freeze frame title card.
I feel like in all of Ty West's films, the conversations between people feel so natural. Like, this does not feel like a movie conversation, This does feel like a lady that could be talking to. Like, the only thing that is unrealistic is how beautiful Samantha Hughes is.
Yes.
Like, when I was looking at her, like, I feel like the first thing out of my mouth would have been like, are you a model? Like, she does not have... Whereas, like, okay, Greta Gerwig is beautiful, but she looks still more... She's still more beautiful, I think, than, what would be your average poor college... Like, I'm not trying to say anything, but you know what I mean. Like, she's... But there's something about Samantha Hughes where it's like, you don't look poor. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like...
yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying, but she looks like she's got a team of hair and makeup on her.
When she comes home, she sees the athletic sock on the doorknob, which indicates that her roommate is fucking, and she's just like, "Oh, come on!"
Good morning.
This happened to me. I had a roommate like this. Like, yeah. And I was working at a garage theater in Madison, Wisconsin. And so I would be coming home typically, 11 or 12 at night. But one week we were off or something, and I just came home after class, and this happened, except there was no sock on the door, and I was just like, what the fuck? And the girl next door, she's like, oh yeah, honey, she does this all the time, and I just never knew because I was never there. But I was just like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, this is where I live,
Yeah.
So she passes this kiosk outside, and there's a sign that says babysitter needed. and she goes to the payphone and makes the phone call, and she gets a answer machine and walks away, and the phone rings back like immediately.
Red flag number one.
Yes, definitely. Red flag number two is he wants to meet like right now.
This girl.
So she goes back home, and oh my God, what a pigsty.
Yeah.
Like clothes everywhere. But you can tell that like that's Heather's side. You know, Samantha's side is all like neat as a pin.
Something that I didn't, okay. I thought it's beautifully disgusting. Like they did a good job doing that, but okay, I know they only did this to create a scene, but it's like roommate and her boyfriend are sleeping. But to add lighting, you know, Ty has added a little light right at the bed to.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking, like, in what world would anybody have that light on? It really distracted me because I was just thinking, like, they've just had morning sex, I guess. They really went at it, and now they're sleeping. Now you're going to sleep with an open light bulb right next to your face? That makes no sense, but it did look nice. But that's all it did.
Samantha goes to the student affairs office and she listens to her Walkman. How huge was this Walkman, by the way?
Yeah. Pocket.
Almost as big as the machine that they use in the Innkeepers, but she's sitting, and then I like this like dissolve that he does where she's sitting for a while and then she's like laying down and waiting for the guy. She's been stood up. So then Sam catches up with Megan. They have some pizza.
My favorite character.
Yeah, Megan?
Yeah, she's the best. I love her.
She really is.
She's got the most sense. She begins with the most sense. She does not end with the most sense. But Greta Gerwig looks amazing. I love her hair. I love her makeup. I love her eating that pizza. I don't know. She to me is the highlight of this movie.
Wow. Yeah, I would say she is a highlight for sure.
She's my highlight.
Okay. But
Mom's
I wrote
to, disown me over my opinion.
No, not at all. Not at all. I don't think she's the best actor. But I did make a note of her hair. It's so incredible.
Pretty.
And as a character, yes, I think she probably has the most sense. But definitely much more than Sam. So yeah, they have a conversation, and you know, Greta's like, look, if you need money, I can call my parents, and Sam's like, no, and she's like, why do you even want to take this babysitting job? You don't even like kids. And she says a line that I only caught this time: the kid could be from hell.
Wink.
Wink. So back in her dorm room, Mr. Ullman calls her, but before that she goes to the bathroom and cries because
so I didn't quite understand. So is it that she doesn't have the money yet?
Yeah.
At this apartment, which I'm also like, that's poor planning, girlfriend. Like, this problem actually is not going to end after this month. It's actually going to be a recurring problem you have every month.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's exactly right. No, she doesn't have. I mean, if Dee Wallace hadn't waived the deposits, she couldn't have gotten that place. So I don't.
Well, it doesn't seem like she could afford it anyway. Like she still can't pay money.
She has no money. She says she has $84 in her banking account. You know.
So why are you looking for y'all? Just a little. I was talking with some friends who are my age who. Two of them, they still don't rent. They're not living independently. And they said that people were making them feel bad about it. And I was like, you are doing the smart thing. Because otherwise you're just taking a stack of money and lighting a match and throwing it on there. I'm not going to say I don't like living independently, but it certainly is a huge waste of money.
Oh, I would pay any amount not to live with anybody else, especially parents or something like that.
Well, I guess I'm saying these people have can stand living with their parents. So I'm like, you have no reason to move.
Okay, well, in that case, I suppose so. But Pwah. I don't know. So anyway, he apologizes. He offers her $100, which is double what he was going to pay her. And as we've said, so that would be like $300 in today's dollars. And he gives the address, and Megan drives her. Megan is not like keen on this though, because it's way out in the boonies. It seems like this guy is like super desperate, so her antennae are definitely up. They also talk about how annoying it is that everyone is fixated on the lunar eclipse tonight. It's all anyone can talk about.
Oh, and there was the whole thing of, Greta's like, you need to tear down all the other flyers because
right.
They blew up. And then later she reveals like, okay, well, I tore them all down because I got so mad because you weren't going to do it, which I feel like spurns Samantha on to feel really guilty about it and feel like she has to babysit.
Oh, maybe so. That could be. Megan says also that she wants to stay with her, and they drive past the cemetery. I like this shot a lot when they get to the house. Okay, first of all, this house is ginormous also. When they get to the house, though, there's this great, like we're looking at them, like in parallel. That's not what I'm trying to say. In profile. We're looking at them in profile, and they're looking way up at Mr. Ullman. He's a very tall man, and he's also like, above them in terms of the house and the porch. Yeah. And we don't see his face at all. So we just see these two women just looking way, way up at him. I just really like that. And then Sam introduces himself, and he takes her hand and he holds it for like a very long time. And, anyway, they go inside. It's very awkward. And then Ullman explains that this is a job that they actually don't have a child, that this is actually for his wife's mother. But there's no medical, there's nothing involved. You probably won't even see her. Like, it's just, it's going to be like easy money. And he is saying that, that's the way he advertised the job originally, but he had no takers. And so he just thought that this would be a way to get somebody to take this job. And but she's, sympathetic, I guess. And she says, yeah, there's a lot of weirdos out there.
2 or 3 different times, and he keeps being like, no, like, please, like she keeps declining. I'm like, girl, please.
But this is what, I guess this is what it means to be poor, like you will not pay attention to your better judgment, and you will accept situations which feel uncomfortable to you.
This is true. Okay, but again, I will say the entire like issue, the crux of the issue she's having here of like the cause or what is about to make her poor is so unnecessary though. That's why I feel a little sympathy for her, is I'm like, okay, living in a dorm with a roommate who has sex, it's like literally not the worst thing that could be happening to you. The worst thing is about to happen to you. like it'd be one thing if it's like I need money to pay for like formula for my baby, but this is like I need to, because I want to live in an apartment I can't afford. So that's why I'm like, I would be.
I have sympathy for her. I mean, I guess so. I just really have a lot of sympathy for her because I just feel like she's a neat freak. She's with like the messiest person in the world, and who is like also so incredibly rude and thoughtless, on a daily basis. And I don't know. I mean, but you're right. She doesn't really have a problem. She's making a problem for herself. I get it, but
this is what living in a dorm is like. You got to go through it. It's, you already live there. I don't know. I identify with Megan in this because afterwards Megan is so fucking pissed off at her. And I was like, yeah, like that's a realistic reaction from a friend who would be like, what is wrong with you? Well, because like, she could get the money from Megan.
Well, that's not really a solution either.
Neither is this.
Okay, so he's very, but we also get this line here, yeah, there are a lot of weirdos out there. And then he asks, well, what would it take? $300? And she says, $400. And Megan, then there's a shot of Megan just like, running out of the house, like, what the fuck? And Sam's arguing with her, and she says, this one night changes everything for me.
It changes 1 month. It changes 1 month of your life.
Well, it's literally going to change everything for her. Then we get the wonderful scene of Megan and AJ Bowen in the cemetery. Oh, God. Okay, my favorite scene, too, but the worst in terms of making sense. The scene makes no sense at all.
And it also doesn't fit in with what we just have established as, like, Megan's character of being the smart one.
Right. Yeah. So she pulls over to have a cigarette in the cemetery. She can't get her lighter to work, or she's out of matches or something. She's got her window rolled down. And here comes AJ Bowen with a lit lighter through her window. And he scares her to death. She's like, I'm going to die. I'm dying. I'm having a heart attack currently. Like, you've scared me so bad. And I don't get why he's there either. She's like, where did you come from? Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
What is he doing there, Mac?
Well, and because then, he asks, are you the babysitter? And so then I'm thinking, in what world, though, are we saying like, you're lying in wait? Like, were they expecting, I guess, the babysitter to turn away? But then why would she stop in the cemetery? Because that is a dumb thing to do. You're in the middle of nowhere. There's no street lamps anywhere. Just go. And I think for her part, she stops, because she's maybe considering, I was thinking she was considering turning back around because she was like, I can't leave her there. Like, but, so that makes sense to me. But as soon as I see that guy, I'm like, well, I'm not staying here. That would be me.
Okay, so, well, maybe he's just going to chase down the babysitter.
On foot.
Well, not on foot. I mean, he has a van, but, and we don't see it in this scene, but he does have transpo. Yeah. I mean, he's not just like hanging out in the cemetery.
But he is.
Because, but he is.
For her to be there and him immediately be able to spot that she's lighting the it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense, but it's still awesome. So he says, wait, you're not the babysitter? She goes, no, I'm not the babysitter. And he blows her brains out. And I watched this 3 times. Because it blows her head off. Like, there's all this blood. And her foot comes off the brake pedal. The car rolls. He's got to stop the car, puts on the brake. She's slumped over in the passenger side. She still has the cigarette in her hand, and he takes the cigarette and he smokes it.
When I first saw this, like, I had no idea this was going to happen. And this was, I think, one of the best scares I've ever gotten in a movie before, because you could never guess that you can guess that something nefarious is afoot, but like, you would never guess that in that moment he's about to shoot her head off. Like, I had no idea this character was dying this soon. And I think that's one of the best scares ever. Like, ever.
Except that
doesn't make sense.
Right.
It's so surprising because it doesn't make any sense. But also, when I first saw this movie, I did not enjoy it. I don't know if you can tell. But I did. But I got excited once this happened. Like, I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, but we'll get to that.
Oh, man. So back at the house, Almond pays her and he gives her money for pizza, and he will mention pizza 3 times. And then there's some off-camera dialogue, and Sam thinks he's talking to his wife, but we realize later that he's talking to Mother. But anyway, it's something like, I've done what you asked. No, there won't be any more mistakes, and, this kind of thing. And then Mrs. Ullman shows up, and she says that she was looking for her furs in the basement. And she says that Samantha is a godsend. And then she gets real creepy with it. And she's just sort of like, doing like a pearl on her. She's like, I bet the boys really like you. And she's just like, nah, I feel so creeped out.
So, like, we're piling red flags in a box now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're poking out the top of the box. So after they leave, Sam calls Megan. She gets the answering machine. And she's just like, you're not home yet? That's weird. And then she orders.
Is it that weird? Because this is way out in the boonies. I remember watching this thinking, like, she wouldn't be home yet. Like, you all just established this is out in the middle of nowhere. Like, how long has passed?
I don't know exactly, but anyway, she orders pizza and then she explores the house. And when she finally settles down, she turns on the TV and the newscaster is saying that there's going to be a total eclipse of the moon tonight and there's going to be up to 2 hours of no visibility. And the stroke of the midnight is the best time to see the eclipse. The Ullmans had mentioned a lot about the eclipse, like how this is like the perfect house and the perfect like town. And, like they're really excited about the eclipse themselves. Then we get kind of like the iconic scene of her listening to Fix's One Thing Leads to Another, playing pool, dancing, and all is great and fun and very 80s because you have to have a girl dancing in an 80s movie. But she knocks over this vase. And so it's like, oh no, shit. She like goes to clean it up. And then she opens up this closet and finds furs in there. Suspicious. And then a bag of photos of a different set of people, a man, a woman, and a boy. And they had a Volvo. There's a Volvo, like in this picture, except that the Ullmans left in a different car. So she goes outside and she sees a van across the yard. And the camera zooms in on a man's boots, and he crunches out a cigarette on the ground. She calls Megan's place again. Megan's still not home. And she grabs it. Now she's starting to get really, creeped out. So she grabs a knife and she goes into the bathroom. She puts the, toilet paper down before she sits down. But while she's in there, she hears muffled thumping. That must have been from the closed captioning. Muffled thumping.
Wait,
then we get this
question.
Yeah.
You know the whole paper on the toilet seat thing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do that?
I don't do that. I told my boyfriend I don't do that, and he was like, oh my God.
Okay, I was just about to bring up, if you tell cis men this, they can't fathom it, but that's because they have such little experience compared to us with the experience of putting your bare ass on a toilet. Because I remember talking to Dad and his friend, and they just kept being like, oh yeah, public bathrooms are so awful, so horrible. And I was just like, fucking cry me a river. Like, I've been putting my ass on toilet seats my whole life, okay? You don't know anything. You don't know anything. So that's why they're so shocked. But if they had to do it with the frequency that we have to do it, they'd be like, because what diseases are you catching from a toilet seat on your butt? Like, okay, if the toilet seat's wet or there's debris on it, I'm going to wipe it off. But like, if there's nothing on that toilet seat, what is it going to do? I was just thinking about this lately. And when I saw that in the movie, I was just like, what is that even doing? All it's doing is make you feel better. So yeah, anyways, I don't ever need another cis man to tell me about the horrors of a bathroom. I know, okay? I know. I remember yelling at Dad, being like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Cry me a fucking river.
But also, men's bathrooms compared to women's bathrooms, not that women's bathrooms are like picture the portrait of like hygiene and cleanliness, but I would shudder to think what the corollary is in the men's room.
As one who has seen both sides, yes, I would prefer to be in the women's, but the men's toilets are not used as much.
Well, that's true too. Well, that's a very good point.
That's the disgusting part, obvious, because nobody does. But a toilet, nobody's using that except for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good point. So if you're a trans man
in a women's bathroom,
don't get me started. But I mean, if you're a trans man, it's best to pee in the stall in the men's room. We'll do anything in the men's room.
Depends. Here's what I do is I put on a mask and I go to the women's restroom because I don't know.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I have such a short stature,
Yes, that's true.
I duck my head down and I'm just like, hi, hello. And then
Oh, no. Yeah, I know. I totally get that. That makes a lot of sense.
Hello, fellow ladies. Lovely bathroom we have today. And I go,
And they're like, yeah,
sure.
Then we get a super low angle and then followed by a super high angle at the staircase. And she starts up the stairs, and this is kind of a cool shot, you have to admit. The shadows of, there's a shadow shot of the staircase onto the wall, and then we see her with her knife, with her like phallic symbol, like penetrating the darkness. And there's a shadow, of that against the wall.
I need that as a sound clip. Penetrating the darkness.
And she goes to the room where she thinks, grandma is, or, mother-in-law is, and she goes, everything all right in there? And everything is not all right in there, because we see the bodies of the dead family, and the boy is splayed out in the Christ pose on a pentagram.
Not good.
No. So she starts up the attic, and then the doorbell is a jump scare, and she runs back down the stairs. She grabs the money. She throws the money at the pizza man, grabs the pizza box. Keep the change. It's A.J. Bowen.
I love that scene. It is so funny. Like, this, just the wet clap of the dollar hitting him in the chest. And he doesn't even look shocked. Like, he's kind of like, all right.
We get a low angle of him as he walks down the front steps, and he lights a cigarette, and he looks back at the house. So she calls the number she was given for the almonds. That's not a real number. And then she calls 911, but she hangs up before she gets to the final one, I guess, but they call back.
I'm like, this I was confused at. Why?
Well, she's probably just imagining things.
I guess, if you're thinking, what if I'm wrong, and then I call 911 and then I don't get my $400, But it's just
maybe.
Like, there's so many times where she's so close to being safe, and then...
I know. So she eats the pizza. She watches a bit of the Night of the Living Dead on TV. The pizza tastes a little funny. Actually, it tastes quite funny. So she throws it away. She drinks some water, rinses out her mouth, and she heads back upstairs. She's exploring the house some more, and she sees a bunch of cut hair in the bathtub.
So gross.
So gross.
I'm going back downstairs and calling up 911.
Okay, yeah, this is kind of like, why does she do this? She goes, instead of doing that, she goes upstairs again, and she pulls the cord for the light bulb, which blows out all the lights in the house just as the eclipse happens. There is a light under the door. That's the only light in the house. And I didn't know if I saw this right. Does the door start to open?
I don't recall.
I don't know. Maybe the door starts to open. Maybe there's a hand that's like coming out, But she's starting to feel a little woozy. and she just can't keep her eyes open. She's stumbling and fumbling. She makes it to the landing and she passes out. And then there's this effect of like the kind of a strobing effect. We see the moon. It's kind of like a blood moon, a candle flame. And then we realize she's tied up, to a pentagram. She's in this white frock and she's gagged. And she's screaming and writhing. And the Ullmans come in and they're wearing these like creepy robes. And so we see Mr. and Mrs. Ullman and A.J. Bowen.
I'm wondering I want to know the story of A.J. Bowen. Like, how did this young guy get involved with old Satanists?
No, he's their kid. He's their son.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a mother. That's what I thought. Like mother, father, son. Mother, father, son. But anyway, but also mother, the like witch. Oh, her makeup is so cool. So they draw a bloody pentagram on her tummy. And then there's the skull. Now, this reminded me of the jackal skull in The Omen. I don't know, could just be me. But it's the skull with these like long horns. And mother cuts her own wrist, and the blood goes into that skull thing, and she puts blood on Sam's forehead, and then she pours the blood from the skull into Sam's mouth, and she's gagging. That was just, that was really gross. But Sam gets free. She scratches mother. I don't know what she does to Vincent. She pokes him. She doesn't still have that knife, but anyway, he's like, ugh. She stabs AJ in the eyeball. And then this doesn't make sense either. But Megan's body, her bloody body, is like there on the floor in the kitchen. Sam grabs a knife. AJ shoots her. She slashes at him, gets him across the throat, and runs back up the stairs while Mom comes and is very sad to see her son is dead. Sam is having these weird, bad visual flashes, like of mother and the pentagram and all this stuff. And Mama says, oh, this is happening. Like, it is happening, and it doesn't matter what you do. Nothing you can do can stop it.
That is scary. That part freaked me out, Like, oh, God. My faith in the field.
There's something going on with her tummy, too. Like, there are these blue veins on her tummy or something. And Mother looks, not Mother, but Mrs. Ullman looks out, and she says, talk to me, Lord. Talk to me. And she takes off a wig, and she's all like, got no hair. She's all nasty under there. And Samantha stabs her in the back. So the eclipse is ending. Sam heads downstairs. She grabs the gun. She dials 911, but then she starts getting those flashes. She just drops the phone. And she runs out of the house, pursued by Vincent, who has a knife in his tummy. I don't understand how he got... I don't know. Okay, but
adrenaline?
Anyway... No, I don't understand when he got stabbed.
Yeah.
Nah. But anyway, he pursues her to the cemetery, and she's, freaking out with the flashes and everything. And he says, listen to them. They're calling to you. Just listen. And he's just like, and you can kill me. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm just like a messenger, for this like coming new world or whatever. And the eclipse is just about to end, and she shoots herself in the head.
Yeah.
So the newscaster comes back on, and he's talking about how the moon mysteriously exited the Earth's shadow far faster than was believed possible. And we see that Sam is in a coma. Her head's all wrapped up. She's in this bed. And the nurse is telling her, everything's going to be just fine for both of you. And she touches Sam's tummy, and that means that she's pregnant with the devil.
She has become the house of the devil. And
I love it.
See the beginning, I guess, Ty West's affinity for credit scenes where it's just, you know, it's just still, the camera keeps rolling, and we just have the credits over.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like.
I like it too. It's a cool thing, Ty. Keep doing it. We dig it. All right. So this was shot on 16 millimeter film, which is very popular in the 80s. It was shot over a period of only 18 days. The titular house was infested with ladybugs, some of which can be seen in some of the shots. I forgot to look. I read that before, but I forgot to look. Most of the crew were locally sourced from Connecticut, where the film was shot, to help keep the costs down to under $1 million. Jocelyn Donahue did her own choreography for the dance scene. The camera frequently zooms in on characters, one of the techniques that were highly favored in the 80s. Nowadays, they would have been most likely to dolly in instead. So a zoom is where the camera is static, but the lens moves. A dolly is where the whole camera moves. Dee Wallace worked for only one day.
You get me for one day.
The name of the couple. I thought about this like last night. I couldn't go to sleep, and I thought about this. Anyway, it says the Coke cups in the pizza place were purchased off eBay. Why not get the props department to just make them?
I don't know. I mean, I did think that they looked very authentic.
What does Letterboxd have to say about it? PD187 gave it 1 star. People who think this is scary can't watch MGM releases because they get too scared when the lion roars. Your girl Riri gave it a 0.5 star. I'm really glad Ty West honed his craft after this movie.
I agree.
Roland D gave it a 0.5 star. Rolando's 31 Days of Spooktober Extravaganza Palooza Day number 3. Dog shit. Everyone involved in this should be embarrassed. Ty West gets a small pass because Pearl is the movie of the year. But this sucks ass. Every bad horror movie trope all rolled into one. Garbage.
Wow. I wouldn't give it that low of a rating.
Ray gave it a 0.5 star. Bro, that shit was ass.
The ass! We got the ass one!
Boo! I'm throwing tomatoes at my screen. This fucking 0% fucking rotten ass movie.
Wow. People don't like it.
Oh, why did he only get 1 5-star review? I don't know.
I like this movie.
I love this movie. This is ADD. This is my ADD in action, y'all. I have adult onset ADD, and it is in full effect. Casey Kelderman gave it 5 stars. This was a rewatch for Casey.
Okay.
This movie is such a vibe. From the throwback aesthetic to the chilling fall atmosphere, House of the Devil is a slow burn, satanic panic thrill ride that I'd argue is one of the best horror films of the past 20 years. And I would agree with you. But Mac would not.
Well, okay, let me give you my succinct thoughts now.
Yeah. Okay, please.
I think this movie is gorgeous, beautiful. I think the way that it looks and the vibe is perfect. I think to say that this is a dog shit film, I do think is wrong. I do think it has its pluses, but I did think it was so boring I could not take it both times I watched it, and the beauty was not enough for me to not be bored. I remember the first time I watched it, my literal reaction to the end was, that's it? Like, I get the horror trope comment because I remember just thinking like, okay, in my head I was like, the family, there's something wrong with them. Satanic stuff's gonna happen, and then it just all like everything that you think is gonna happen happens. And the only thing that shocked me was Greta Gerwig dying. So for me, I just was bored by it and shocked that people thought it was so good. But I don't think it's like absolute dog shit horrible. I think you can see all the good. I think you can see the beginnings of everything Ty West is good at. But I would agree with the person. I would agree with your girl Riri that this is a launching point for his future better films. And then comparing this to The Innkeepers, which has like the same runtime, so much more happens in that movie. It's like bam, bam, bam. Like, and it's still a beautiful film. And that is my take. And I respect your take.
The only thing that wouldn't make this like a 5-star movie, or maybe even a 4 3/4 star movie or anything like that for me, is like, I don't really care about her.
Yeah.
And I think I should.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I'm happy to follow her around this goddamn house, for a half hour or more. Swear to God. I love the way the camera moves. I love the shots. I do feel like maybe it's like a workshop that Ty is doing for himself, though. He's like, how can I reproduce, an 80s horror movie using the techniques and the style that, I love so much. And that's what he does. But I don't give a fuck about her. I don't care. And it is scary. I mean, if I believed in the double, it would be very scary to think that, she's going to, give birth to him. And that is scary too, to think that you can't even kill yourself. Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, that's a scary thought to me. But I don't love it for the characters. I love it for how it looks. And I'm a slut for like visual, so I'm a slut for cinematography.
Yeah. I do think, cinematography in this movie, it is great. Maybe this movie would have been more of a slam dunk for me if I liked her more, and even some of the, like, I remember Mr. Ullman, no shade to that actor, but I kind of was like, I don't think that guy had the right vibe for what that character should have been. I only feel like really the wife, Muzza, AJ Bowen, and Greta Gerwig, I felt like they all were good casting. I liked them. But everybody else, well, the other two, but they have the most like lines really besides Greta Gerwig. So I feel like if Samantha had been played by somebody like that woman had the look, but that's all she had. No offense to that actress, but if she had an ounce of charisma, maybe this could have been a better movie.
Not to jump ahead, but I think the same can be said for Sarah Paxton in the next movie.
Really?
But we can talk about it.
Oh, really? Wow. Because I thought she was amazing.
Okay. I thought, okay.
Okay.
So how would we rate this? We could rate this in
$100 bills?
Yeah.
You go first.
I'll give it, well, I don't know. 3. No, I'll give it 4.
I'll give it 300. Okay. I do feel like the visuals, anybody watching this, you cannot deny that it's a beautiful film, and that and that when you look at I was shocked when I said I was shocked when it was released. That's because I thought it was released later, because I know that it's not a movie from the 80s. But if you watched this having no clue, you would think, wait, am I watching a movie from the 80s? Like, they captured that so well. You cannot deny that. And I feel like if that's maybe the only thing he really set out to do, he did it.
And I think for a 26-year-old, it's a pretty great accomplishment. I mean, I think that's a pretty, like, ambitious project. And I think he smashed it.
Yeah, because so many times you see things of like, this is the 80s. It's like a cartoon, you know? It's like stuff that people didn't actually wear. Like maybe in a fashion magazine, people wore these things, but your average person on the street did not have like all this crazy neon everywhere. Like whenever people have an 80s day, like nobody looked like that. But I'm saying this as if I was there. I wasn't, but like, based off of movies I have seen from the 80s, this feels so much more real and has, and it being in the fall, like that reviewer said, and the outfits, they're really understated, but still very, like, they have that vibe.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the 80s-ness in the hair, you know, and it's 83. I think people have pinpointed it down to, you know, given them the music selections and stuff. And so that neon stuff was, yeah, I mean, you might wear that to the club, and you wouldn't wear it to a babysitting job.
You wouldn't just wear it walking, like your average person is not wearing that.
Yeah, so, but.
And I just think that's where other movies that try to pen themselves as like, this is the 80s, like fall flat. Because it's like, no, that's a cartoon. But this, you could just reasonably believe that this was a recently unearthed movie from the 80s.
But all right, what have we learned?
Oh my, so many things. You could write a novel about the red flags she missed here.
We always come back to this, but yeah, for sure, trust your gut. Yeah.
Friend.
Yeah, trust your friend.
Yeah, I mean, that girl got it the worst. Megan.
I know. She didn't deserve that.
She was the only, she should have not been in that cemetery, yes. But she warned her. She was like, this shit is nefarious.
So, yeah, also, we sort of talked about what have we learned a little earlier, but, you know, obviously don't smoke is like a big takeaway from this. But also, the first thing I thought was, like, if A.J. Bowen shows up in your movie, run!
Get out.
It's never a good time when that dude shows up.
No, but we love A.J. Bowen.
We love, the man? Love the man.
Characters that you should run from.
Don't date him.
Don't trust him.
If he's your TA, if he's your professor, definitely switch out of that class.
Yeah. Don't trust those sweet, kind eyes and that he's got such a sweet face.
I love his face.
Why you think you can trust him, but you can't.
You can't. Do not go to check out a cult with A.J. Bowen. No. Don't do it.
See, now he's not trying to get you to, but he's there, so you know something bad's about to happen.
When we watch it again, I would.
I would not.
Okay, do you have a favorite scene?
Yes.
In this movie? Okay, what is it? The cemetery scene.
Yeah.
Okay. I also quite enjoy that. Well, do we even have to say it?
Sarah, you are the fool. You are the fool.
Sam, her name, Sam.
Sam, because you should have rolled that window up and just, I don't care if you hit a tombstone on your way out, you should have, you saw A.J. Bowen. You should have known something bad was about to happen. And also, milk, young lady. It's not good for you.
It's not good for you. All right. We know where we stand on this film. Let's talk about the Innkeepers.
All right, The Innkeepers. Here is a brief summary from IMDb. During the final days at the Yankee Peddler Inn, 2 employees determined to reveal the hotel's haunted past begin to experience disturbing events as old guests check in for a stay. It was directed and written by Mr. Ty West. It stars Sarah Paxton, Pat Healy, Hart, love him, and Kelly McGillis. Cinematography by Elliot Rocket once again. Edited by Ty West. And music by Jeff Grace. It was released March 12th, 2011 at South by Southwest, February 3rd, 2012 in the US, with a runtime of 101 minutes. This was my first time watching it. And I think I got this movie mixed up this whole time with that one with Nicole Kidman.
The Others?
Yeah, I don't know why. I didn't know that this movie existed. Like, I thought, every time I thought The Innkeepers, I would think of the movie poster for The Others. I don't know why.
Oh,
so they should have called it something else. Like, I did not know this movie existed, honestly.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Me too.
For just like right off the bat, I just feel like it's so, Ty West is very good at having movies in one singular location, but having them feel like they exist in an entire world. I think this movie, it mostly takes place in this, and granted, the inn is very big, but, you know, it stays there most of the time, but it never feels like, I don't know, stifling. Or sometimes, you know, a movie does that and you feel like, okay, they had to cut some corners, but I don't know. It works. And he does that with a lot of films, and I think he's good at that. So let's get into the plot. Thank you, moviepooper.com, for this, for this summary and for your great name. Also, this movie's a little bit weird because Sarah Paxton in this movie looks a lot like a girl that I knew. I actually didn't know her personally, but she was in like the drama department at the school Maddie went to. But man, they look so similar, like haircut and everything. But anyways.
And I was a little harsh on Sarah Paxton. I just thought he sure does like, before he met Mia Goth, I guess, or before he met the latest like slate of actors that he's working with, I think he didn't cast people so much for their talent as for their look.
But
Does that make sense?
But she doesn't really look like, and I don't mean this in a mean, this is good for the character, but she doesn't look like beautiful, you know? It's like the girl in the first movie, like she looked like a model, but like, you know, Sarah Paxton might be like tall and thin, but she looked like an awkward young woman. Like,
yeah,
didn't look sexy at all to me.
Yeah, I guess so.
And her haircut was not very flattering on her. Not to be rude, but all of that to me makes for a character that feels realistic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like you could walk into an inn and see her working there.
Right, and I guess somebody was saying that she was in a movie, I don't know if it was right around the same time, where she played a mermaid, and she had, like, you know, a totally different look.
Wow.
So, Pat Healy, though, dude, always looks the same.
Yeah, always looks the same. I love him.
Love him.
He's so good. And I think they had great chemistry in this movie.
Me too.
So, Claire, played by Sarah Paxton, is a socially awkward young woman who works at the Yankee Peddler Inn with the pessimistic Luke, played by Pat Healy. The local legend at this inn states that a woman named Madeline O'Malley, played by Brenda Cooney, haunts the hotel. The story is that Madeline was jilted on her wedding night and committed suicide in the honeymoon suite. The innkeepers At the time, the innkeepers, attempting to avoid a scandal, buried her in a basement room. Madeline now haunts the hotel, waiting for her true love. Well, the inn, present day, is closing for good after the weekend. So it's basically a ghost town. We only have Claire and Luke working, and they're actually sleeping at the inn, and they just, you know, pick random rooms, and there's like, you know, 2 or 3 guests there the whole time. And these two are like, again, like the dialogue in his films are so good because these two are the perfect, this is what I would say is such a great depiction of work friends. It's like somebody you spend a lot of your time with, you can't really imagine them hanging out outside of this work space, but in the work, at work, they're like thick as thieves. But I love their relationship. The only thing, it sucks because I think both of them were great casting. And I don't even really mind the whole, like, him kind of having a crush on her kind of thing, but I wish I could just manufacture their ages to be closer, because that part just makes me so like, well, there's no way she's ever going to be with you, dude. Why would she be with you? You know?
Well, no matter what his age is, though, I don't think she would ever be with him. But you know what I mean? But yeah, I get it.
But like this, and that is established. I think the way that they're acting establishes that. But like, we, the audience, can look and just be like, no way.
No, but yeah, I like that though, actually, Mac, now that you say that too, because he is so sad. He is so sad. And she says something like, do you ever think about like how you dropped out of college and like, how you ended up like working here? And he goes, every day, and it's like,
and her in a few, and like, because I guess the idea, she's
like in 20 years.
Yeah, I'm guessing, she's not in college now. She's of college age, though.
Yes, yeah.
And I think we're seeing, though, like, she's still at the younger age of still having maybe some hope or some interest in the world, but it's been beaten out.
No. Yeah.
But they're, like, in the same position, though. Like, if she doesn't move where she is, she will be him.
Mm-hmm.
And that probably scares her a little bit.
It's pretty scary to think that, right?
Yeah. Well, currently the guests at the inn include Leanne Rhys-Jones, played by Kelly McGillis, who is a former TV star. Okay, yeah. From the very beginning, we established that Claire has asthma. I don't love stuff like this in movies. It's one of those things where it's like, we see her, every now and then puffing on that inhaler, and you just know, like, okay, well, that's either going to be what kills her or is going to come in later. And I just think foreshadowing like that is, I don't know, it's a bit much to me. Every time we saw it, I was like, I get it. Something is going to happen with the inhaler. I don't know, not subtle. So yes, Claire is also a college dropout. Luke is trying to get into website building. We see this great, like, 2011, era website that he's made that chronicles the hotel's supposed hauntings. And, he's got, God, I miss when websites looked like this. The internet was such a better place when websites had stupid little GIFs of, like, ghosts and, like, stupid font. Like, when that was the website you could find, that was a better time.
I was like trying to figure out when this was, and I'm guessing 94, 95.
No, like, I would even say this could be in like the early 2000s. Like,
really?
I made a website that looked just like that when I was in.
Oh wow!
School. Maybe
okay.
School.
Like with the counter, he's got like the how many visitors and like the under construction gif and
the little guy on the. Oh God! They did that so well. They captured that great. So well. And like, when we look at the website and his, page of videos of the hauntings, it's like a door slowly opening. Again, I think I said it before on this podcast. I don't believe any ghost videos that aren't a ghost saying, "Boo, I'm a ghost. Look at me. I am a ghost." Why would they not do that? What ghost would be like, what I'm going to do? See, they got that camera set up. I think I'm just going to open up the door a little bit. Woo.
Okay, but I think he did that himself, right?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying is like,
yeah.
Any of that. Because also doors it's an old inn. They can also just do that. Like,
yes.
Wood can expand, your door opens. Like, that's nothing. Show me the ghost saying, "Boo, I'm a ghost." Then I'll believe you. So yeah, Claire and Luke, they're just pals. Claire, I don't know. I love their characters. I love their convos. I can't really even like just describe all the times that they talk because this movie, it never stops going. There's never really a dull moment to me. And whenever there is a quiet moment, that's just when the spooky stuff happens. But there's just a lot of character building. And I feel like by the end, we know exactly who these people are in a good way. So yes, when Luke checks in an older woman, Claire recognizes that that's Leanne Rhys-Jones, who's a former actress. And she's like, you don't know her? You know, she was on Brothers and Sisters. That is a real show. And, you know, I loved her on that. And he's like, okay, whatever. So she delivers towels to her room while she's taking a shower. And I love this scene. Like, you know, Leanne puts on the towel and, you know, and Claire's just standing there awkwardly with it. This is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. I just feel like, I don't know, it was just magical because Leanne, you know, has heard this a million times before. And, you know, because Claire's like, I love you. I thought you were great in this show. And, you know, and Leanne's just smoking a cigarette and is like, so what do you do? Are you trying to be an actress? Is that why you're so interested in my work? And Claire kind of deflates and is like, no, I work at this inn. And Leanne goes, oh. And Claire goes back downstairs and tells Luke that she made her feel like an asshole. And Luke's like, well, yeah, could have told you that much because, you know, he's a pessimist. So the next night, Claire, we have again, there's a lot of little scenes of just them doing stuff as their character would do. And that gives you all this information about them. So Claire is taking some trash out to the trash can at night. It's one of those lids that's like you would need two hands to really open it, but she's got this giant bag, and we just have this little scene of her like trying to. I have been here.
Yes.
If anybody's worked at like a service job where you have to clean, this has happened to you. Like she tries to open up the lid and throw the trash in, it gets caught, and then the perfect moment, the juice just starts spilling down. It's like, and it's just from one single take, kind of far away.
Yeah.
And she finally gets it in, you know, wipes the juice off and looks up, and Leanne is looking at her from the window smoking a cigarette. So, and she goes, "Hi, Lee," and she just kind of walks away. And again, she just feels like a stupid asshole. I've had this moment too, where you realize somebody's been watching you look like an idiot the whole time, and then if it was an actress that you loved. Kill me now. So Claire then hears some noises coming from the hotel's garage. There's a door leading to the basement. I think this is when it happens. Is she hears?
Yeah, she opens.
She opens it, and a crow jumps out at her. And that's the one thing I will say is the thing I do not like about this movie is the jump scares are stupid. These are stupid, and they're too loud. At least the one the version I watched, it was like. So you could have had that scene, but you do not need to have the loudest noise ever happen because the bird flying out is scary enough, you know? The jump scare in House of the Devil is perfect because even though it freaks you out, it's not. The gun firing was less loud than this bird coming out of the attic. Like, how does that work? Or the basement.
Cellar, yeah.
Yeah, cellar. So. She padlocks it, significant look, and returns inside. She then uses, because, you know, they're kind of doing like, you know, Luke goes to sleep and she's up during the night. She uses his ghost hunting equipment, which is this, you know, giant EVP reader with a giant microphone that you have to hold up and headphones to record the EVPs in various places in the hotel. So, you know, she's going around and she just, you know, doesn't really hear anything. Eventually goes to, I think, like the laundry room and begins to kind of hear a faint little, or no, maybe in that room she doesn't hear anything. And she just says in the microphone, like, Luke, there's nothing here. She then starts to hear like a little faint noise of like voices and music, goes to the grand piano in the lobby, and suddenly just like a note plays. She freaks out. And I think then she freaks out, you know, and runs upstairs, you know, banging on Luke's door. And she's like, the piano, it was down there, you know, it played by himself. And he's still half awake. And he's like, okay. Like, and he turns and he's in his underwear. And I love this scene so much.
Yeah, me too.
When she sees that, she instantly is like, actually, I'm fine. It's going to be fine. I'll be okay. And how did he capture this vibe so well of like, nothing happens between them and nothing untoward is there, but it's so uncomfortable.
Also, I just thought, and this happens a couple times where it's very clear to her that he is in no way able to be her savior. Like he's not it at all. And I don't know. I mean, I just think, I think Healy, aside from Compliance, where he is kind of scary, I mean, but he sort of made a career out of being this, like, what? You know, just sort of, yes, wet blanket, just, yeah, yeah. Like, he's like a
pathetic, or, sorry, there's a gnat. He's not, like, pathetic, but he is just a guy, you know? He's
pretty pathetic. I mean,
not in like a little wet cat sort of way. It's just like, I feel like pathetic, like you or me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's just, there's nothing.
And that girl comes up to me, I think I would have the same amount of ability to protect her as him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how they do it. It's just, you totally get it. That she's just like, oh, never mind.
Yeah.
You're not going to be any help to me at all, I see. You know? But I don't know how they do it. I guess it's her
acting. And it's him
her reaction. Yeah.
Because they have such a great friendship. Like, they really do click, and they do have a lot of chemistry. And he obviously really likes her. He loves the light and the energy that she has, and, you know, that she can make him laugh and that they can tease each other. But he is not it for her.
Well, and that's kind of funny. I like it that there is this age gap, because he's lived long enough to know that he's not going to do better than her. Right? But she hasn't lived long enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm saying she shouldn't be with him, but to him, he sees how special she is, and she likes him. She's got affection for him, but it's not in the same direction, because, you know, she's just so much younger, and she's just so cool herself.
Yeah. They have this like unrequitedness is so good, because he never comes off as creepy either. Like, in no way to me, I think. Like,
at the drunk scene, he's a little creepy.
But he doesn't come on. It's more like in what he says. Yeah. It's like, you know, she's not into you. But, like, he's still never, I don't, like, the way he makes her uncomfortable, I think, is just in the situation. But it's not like he's, like, crowding her space or, like.
No, you're right.
He keeps a huge distance between her. It's like, he starts to open up the door, and she always shuts it. And he respects it, but it's sad. But it's also not hurtful. Like, there's nothing cruel.
No. She doesn't see. I think you're absolutely right. And I don't think she even considers that he even thinks of her that way. Like, to her, this is just like, it would never happen, could happen, would happen, should happen. You know, she's just like, you know, and when he's talking in that drunk scene about how we just mesh together, and I love the way you support me, and nothing. She's not getting what he's laying down at all. Yeah. And I like that. And then when she's just like, I've got a great idea, let's go to the basement, he's like, okay. Like, because of course, like, what else is he going to do?
Their relationship is like maybe my favorite part of the whole movie. Like, I just think these two actors, they work so well together, and like I just feel like I've never seen such a relationship like this captured in such a perfect way, you know, of like, cause you know, a lot of times movies try to have this kind of thing, and it's uncomfortable to the point where it's like, I don't want to watch this. Like, I'm not having fun, but I never felt like that with this. Like,
Yeah.
Because either way, it's like, well, he can move on. He can go somewhere else. This is not and he's never ruining their relationship either, I think. And okay, I forgot to mention it, and because this plot summary didn't even mention it, because there's no reason for it to have ever been in the movie, which was going to be my question is, what was the point of that scene? Because at one point, because after the whole thing with Leanne earlier, where she made Claire feel like an asshole, she's like, I'm going to go get a coffee. So she goes to a coffee shop where Lena Dunham is the barista. By the way,
barista.
I do not like Lena Dunham. I tried to watch Girls, not good. I watched the movie she directed, not good. I don't think she's a good person. And I guess I feel a particular hatred of her because more than once somebody told me that I looked like her. And I'm like, I just have short brown hair and that's about it.
No. Yeah, I don't think you do.
And I'm not trying to speak on the way she looks. It's just more like, I don't like her as a person. And then to be compared to her, I was like, oh, God. So she has, this scene could have been cut out because I kept trying to think, why is this in the movie? And I could not.
I just think it's more character development because we see Claire. We learn about Claire through her interactions with all these different people.
Yeah.
And here's somebody who's her own age, and she's so much more creative and interesting and imaginative than the barista, right? So much so that Claire doesn't even stick around to have her order filled. Yeah. She's just like, I gotta get out of here. Because Lena Dunham's character is just she doesn't understand what a cyclops is.
Yeah, because there's a on the board, the menu, one thing that they have is the one-eyed cyclops, and Claire goes, by nature, aren't all cyclops one-eyed?
And she just stares at her for a second. She goes, what do you mean? Then she just overshares about how her boyfriend has never said that he loves her.
He said it on I Am, but
he did say it on I Am, but that's like saying, I love you when you're fucking.
Sex, which but I guess to me, I just remember thinking I think we already got enough from everything else.
Maybe.
I did not need to see Lena Dunham in this film.
I think it's kind of nice to see somebody her own age because everybody else is older than she is. So just to see somebody who's pretty much her own age, who's just not on her level, I think just tells us more about her. But I'm not a fan. I don't like Lena Dunham. I think she's psychologically messed up or something. She said some really out of pocket things, and I would rather not deal with her. But
even when they had that scene, I didn't even, I guess, catch that that was what it was supposed to be because they don't even look the same age to me. I don't know.
Well, at least closer. I mean, because everybody else is a parent or
child,
elderly, pretty much. So. Yeah.
I just feel like that could have been cut out and nothing of value would have been lost.
Well, I don't know. She's also an hourly worker. We just see this might be the next job that she has, I mean,
yeah, that's true.
So that's pretty scary, if that's an alternative setting for her.
Maybe just that scene could have been done better or something. I don't know. I just feel like we could have watched a cut of that taken out and you wouldn't have remembered the original scene. And if you watched the film and that hadn't been in it, you wouldn't have thought, I'm missing something.
I guess you're right.
I feel like they knew that, but they had already hired Lena Dunham and they were like, we can't fire her now. God, I guess
I'm sure they're probably friends, Ty and Lena.
Well, he should have not been her friend. He should have cut that scene out. I don't know why I'm going to die on this hill. That scene should not be in this film. They could have made it a perfect length. It's 100 minutes. They could have made it closer to 90. with a little bit less time because they could have taken that name out of the credits.
Wow.
Okay, anyways.
Get the Mac
If I
supercut.
had not remembered to say it, you wouldn't have stopped me and been like, Mac, wait, you forgot about that great
No,
scene."
that's true. I do. It's like I do think it does provide us, with a little more understanding of this character's world, but I take your point.
So yeah, so we got the scary moment with the piano. She sees Luke in his boxers and she's like, actually, it does kind of snap her out of her scared. She's like, I'm fine. So then she goes to sleep, but then wakes up and Madeline's apparition is in her room, like bloody faced, and it's scary. So then she screams, and freaks out. Leanne is in the hallway and is like, hey, can you keep it down? And Claire then I love this scene too. Claire just has it. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I messed up. This cut earlier when I'm talking about Madeline.
Cut. Okay.
Cut. Because she runs into Leanne after the stuff with the piano. And, when she decides, okay, actually it's fine. No, I'm so sorry.
No, you're right. Okay, so she goes to talk to Pat Healy.
The apparition, though, with the piano. That's when she sees it? No. Okay.
No. It's like bong, the notes. She goes up to what's his face's room. Yeah. He's like, okay, let me get some clothes on. She's like, oh, you know what? I'm fine. Turns around, Leanne's there and is like, can you keep it down?
And yeah, okay. And then she's like, you know what? She's like, I just got evidence of supernatural happening, and you're always asking me questions. You're asking me what I do, and, making me feel bad. And it just kind of blows up at her. And it's a great scene. And Leanne goes, follow me. So she goes with Leanne into her room. And Leanne says, you can call me Lee. And reveals that she's actually in town for a psychics convention. Acting is not her thing. Her true calling is being a medium. And so then she has this pendulum and she's like, I can help you talk to the spirits. So, and I love this scene, their scenes together are magical. Because, Claire is feeling a little bit stupid still and also kind of like anybody talking to a person who calls themselves like a medium, they're like, okay. But she's got this, hanging pendulum, pretty crystal thing. And, she's like, ask it some questions, ask it directly. And Claire first says like, was that the spirit of Madeline? Did you play the piano? And she's like, no, ask it directly. And she's like, what do you want to know? And she says, well, are they ghosts real? And Lee says, there is no real in this world. There's no beginning and no end. I love this stuff. This is the kind of psychic you would talk to where you'd be like, I don't know if I still believe in all this, but that was cool. I like
it too. She just says that we're like divine energy, we're just like in different modalities kind of thing. And then like later she says that she can sense things, but she's not really sure on the like that are yet to happen, but she's not really sure like what the information is. And that's really helpful, given what she tells her later. But this is the kind of spirituality that I'm like, sure, that makes sense. I'm okay with, because I don't understand ghosts and spirits and stuff like that. Like you were saying, like, why would they do all the bullshit that they do?
Yeah.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But sometimes I'm just like, well, what does happen to us? Like, what happens to our spirit or our energy or our life force? And it's like, oh, okay, well, this kind of makes sense what she's saying.
Yeah, it feels nice to hear.
Sure.
So then Claire, starts talking directly. She's like, did I hear you? What is going on? And things start to get crazy. The pendulum starts swinging faster, and, Lee's got her eyes closed and, saying that she feels, that there's 3 people. Do not go into the basement. And, basically just kind of gets shaken up and is like, okay, I think, we'll end that here, for today. But I think she also, tells her like something just about like, be careful, like just be careful with this stuff. And again, the plot I'm reading, I don't know if this, after that's when she sees the apparition in her room after talking with Lee, and then she's sleeping in bed, and at night, she like, then we see like this ghostly form next to her bed. Of Madeline, wedding dress, messed up face, that's scary. That's a good scare.
That's a good scare.
So next day.
No, wait. So she has this like freak out where she's just like, wah, and it was a dream.
Oh, yes. And then she runs downstairs to get Luke. This time she's in her underpants, and we've had this little thing with this like mom who's, with her son who's, separating from her husband, and, she, when Claire comes downstairs in her panties, the mom's like, okay, that's it. We're going back to my husband's house. And they leave. There's like no reason for them to be in that movie except for that scene, and it's great. Like,
well, there's also the
scene, where Claire tells the story of the ghost to the little boy at one point, and the mom's like, what are you saying? And like, she said that the ghost is gonna get me. She's like, I never said that. And then another point, she's like, we keep asking for towels. We're in this room. And Luke goes, I know. I work at the hotel. I know what room you're in. I don't think they ever got them the towels.
No, and he and Claire high-five each other like after she goes upstairs, so it's like they were in on it together to like fuck with this family. I don't know if they wanted them to, maybe they just wanted them to leave, like less work for them if it's like less people in the hotel.
Because I think she's supposed to be like kind of a bitch,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. She leaves. Later that day, an elderly man arrives and asks for the honeymoon suite on the 3rd floor. Well, the thing is, they already stripped everything away from the 3rd floor. They're only having people on the 2nd floor, which Luke says, and he's like, no, like I gotta be on that 3rd floor. And Claire's like, well, we can get some sheets. It doesn't have all the furniture up there, but we can help you. And Luke asks the guy for a credit card. He's like, no, I'll be paying in cash. This is also like the oldest man. He looks so, Claire shows.
I know, and then I'm like, did he walk up 2 flights of stairs? Because
that's a good question.
I guess I would imagine they don't have an elevator, but
yeah. She takes him up to the room. It's just kind of chit-chatting with him, like, it's not going to have all the cool stuff of the other rooms, but you're still going to enjoy your stay. And he's like, well, no, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. And she still keeps talking to him, but he grabs the sheets and he's like, thank you, and closes the door on her. And she's like, oh, well, all right, but that's not normal. This is nearing to be the end of the... Oh, yeah, because there's just, like, one night left, so I think Claire's just like, whatever. We can let that guy stay, and he's like, great, because I wanted to be here before, it all closes. So it's the last night. Luke and Claire are just having a rowdy time. They're drinking beers and having fun. They're like, there's this great scene where Luke is, like, doing a reenactment of Claire's EVP reading, and he's walking into the lobby and he's like, oh, what's that sound? And then sees Claire in a sheet slowly rise up and just woo, and he like the acting on his face, like he looks like like scared, and then she falls over, and then she draws Madeline, and she's like, "Who looks prettier, me or her?" And then this is the scene.
Yes.
He's like, "Well, I think you're prettier. I think you're one of the prettiest girls like I've ever seen." And she's like, yeah, like who else? And he's like, "My mom and my sister and the lady who works at the Dairy Queen." And she's like, "She's got a lazy eye, they're just having fun." So it's like he interjects these little things of like, if she was picking up,
Yes.
like that's why I'm like, he's opening up the door, and then she does. It's not even that she's closing it with her hand. It's like she's bumping into the door and slamming it closed.
Yeah.
So as he's telling her then, more like, "Yeah, I think you're really cool, and you get me, and you listen to me, and all this stuff." And then she goes, we should go down to the basement." And goes, "Okay." So they travel down to the basement with their EVP reader, and things are getting spooky. This is a pretty great scene. They're sitting in the basement with the EVP reader. Luke's got, I think, the headphones on, and Madeline is talking, and it just gets very, very spooky. And at one point, and Luke just looks like, we don't know what he's hearing, but he looks so scared. And at one point, she's like, "She's right behind you," and he just takes off the headphones and runs out, which is the smartest thing you could do, and
pushes her over.
Yeah,
in his haste,
like barrels over her, to run out of there, and she runs after him, and because she thinks this is cool. Like she wants to uncover the mystery of this, because she actually feels like empathetic for what the spirit of Madeline would be. She's like, she's been here this whole time. Like, we need to find out why she's here. But he runs out, and he's like, "I can't be here. Like, I can't do this. I'm really sorry. I can't be here." She's saying like, "Don't leave me." Like, he's not only like leaving her in this scary situation, but then just realistically like leaving her alone in this inn, this young woman to take care of this whole inn by herself when they're supposed to be a team, and just drives away. And so she goes upstairs to talk to Lee. I forgot to mention earlier, there was a little moment where she's told Luke about the moment she had with Lee, and Luke kind of just gives Lee shit for it and is like, "Don't let the spirits keep you up at night," because like he asks her what it's like to be a psychic, and as you were talking about earlier, she gives like a very thoughtful answer, like not just some hoo-ha shit, but like just something that if you stamped over on, you would be an asshole. And he stamps all over on it. And, Claire even says like, "Yeah, you didn't have to be rude." And he says, "Well, you said it yourself. She made you feel like an asshole. People need a taste of their own medicine." He's just like a bitter dude. So Claire goes back upstairs to ask Leanne for help. Leanne's like, and I really love this scene because like Leanne is like hurt. Like she's like, "Wow, you just make fun of me again?" And she's like, "No."
Leanne's drunk herself to sleep. Like she's got all those like little mini bottles that you get like on an airplane, and so she's like half asleep. But she's like, "What are you doing in my room? Like, this is
why are you here?"
But also like, why did you come up so you could make fun of me some more?
Yeah, it's like sad. And Claire's like, "I know, I'm so sorry. I should have defended you, but I didn't. But please, I need your help because, the spirit talked to us in the basement." And I think Leanne hears this and is like, "Okay, get me another bottle and let's go." So, and she gives one to Claire too. And so they go down to the basement. Leanne makes contact with the spirit. The pendulum thing falls and shatters. And she's like, "We need to get the fuck out of here." And so she goes to leave. Claire's like, "Oh shit, I gotta go get that old man." So she's like, "Okay, you go over here and I'll go." So she runs upstairs to retrieve the elderly man. When she opens up the door, she finds a suicide note. We don't really get a look at exactly what it says, but it's something like, "My love, I came back, I'm here." And when she looks, he has slit his wrists in the bathtub. It's a gruesome scene. And she's like, "Oh, fuck." And then she sees Madeline's apparition hanging from a rope. and of course freaks the fuck out, runs downstairs, sees that Luke is back, and she's trying to tell him about the old man. He's like, did you call the police? She's like, no, not yet. I gotta get Leanne. And so then Luke goes back upstairs to find Lee. And then Claire here, this is the point. This was a point where I was like, why would you do this? Why? Mm-hmm. She hears noises coming from the basement and approaches the stairwell. She sees an apparition of the elderly man in the dark, kind of reaching out towards her.
That's when she's already in the basement.
Oh.
But first she's at the top of the stairs, and she's like, Lee, is that you? Because someone is calling her name.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, Lee, are you in the basement? Like, I don't want to come back down there. Like, what the fuck? And when she turns around, it's the old man.
Ah.
And she falls down the stairs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Yeah, she freaks out. So now she's in the basement, disoriented, and she walks into the room where Madeline's body was kept. I'm gonna switch back to the one you had because this one is just not.
But I do like this when she looks and the old man is following her, but he's just in this like frozen position. I thought that was such a cool thing.
Yeah.
Where he's just like frozen, reaching out to her.
Oh, it's so
I don't know. Well, so she locks herself in that room to get away from the old man.
And the old man's ghost pounds on the door, and she doesn't realize that is the storage room where Madeline had been buried. Then the ghost of Madeline appears, hissing evilly, and we just watch as Claire screams.
And she's trying to get out of the cellar door that she herself had padlocked, yes.
And yeah, Madeline is just coming towards her, and then she turns and screams, and then it's a little cut to black. So then, it's the next day. It is literally daytime, and we see the bodies. Well, first we see one gurney, and it's covered, but it very quickly opens, and we just see a flash of blonde hair, so we know that Claire has died. And we also see a very bloody gurney being taken. That's the old man.
Also, I was like, why is it so bloody? Like,
maybe because he was so wet in the bathtub?
I guess, but you'd put clean sheets on him. I don't... Anyway,
yeah,
but...
It was very bloody gurney. Then we see Luke talking to the police, and he says that he saw Claire in the basement and went to get her, but she fled, and he could not open up the room, and that it was locked. Pounded on the door, but it didn't break until after Claire had already died. And he shows that he has her inhaler that was at the bottom of the stairs, where it must have fallen out after she fell. So the police theorized that she died of a panic attack due to her asthma. This whole thing with the inhaler, I thought was so eye-roll inducing. Like, the moment you see that inhaler, you're like, okay, well, where's it going to come in? Like, it just is not, it's not subtle. It's, in fact, the least subtle thing I've ever seen. It's almost as if they were just saying, she's going to die from this. Like, but not in a way that's like the Telltale Heart kind of cool. Like, ooh, I don't know. Like, this is something we keep in the back of our mind. It's just every so often you're like, oh, yep, I forgot the inhaler. Except I didn't forget because you keep shoving it in my face every 5 seconds. So I just thought that was stupid. So then Luke goes to get Leanne, who's standing at the open window of Claire's hotel room. And he's standing in the doorway looking at her, and he's like, the police want you. Did you hear me? You could have helped her. And Lee tells Luke that nothing she could have done would have saved her. And when they leave, we get a very slow shot of the door. What's gonna happen? I'm literally like checking my watch. Okay, the door slams shut.
Okay, so some people have said they can see the silhouette of Claire in the curtains, and she turns to the camera, and then the door slams. I have looked at this like 4 or 5 times. I cannot see it to save my life.
Well, then it's not there. They're just lying. I didn't see anything. I was looking hard. I could not see anything. I think it's just a nod to the video earlier of the door closing.
Yeah.
But that's not. She wasn't there. That's the whole thing's supposed to be ambiguous, I feel like. So they wouldn't have put her silhouette there.
Yeah, maybe it's people just wanting it to be there.
Yeah. So that is the end of the film. What do you think happened? Do you think she died of a panic attack, or do you think she died from a ghost?
Both.
Oh, well,
I think she was scared by a ghost and she had a panic attack and died.
Yeah.
I don't think Madeline was trying to kill her. I think because Leanne is saying that she thinks there's 3 of them, right? So there's the old man, Madeline, and Claire. Because Leanne doesn't understand like where Claire is in this continuum.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the old man and Madeline are trying to warn Claire.
Yeah.
I don't think they're trying to scare her. I think they're trying to save her.
Yeah. But nothing, could have.
But because she sealed her own fate, she didn't, obviously, she set it up. Yeah. It was set in motion.
Yeah. And they're not malevolent spirits. It's like the old man just wanted to be reunited with Madeline, and Madeline's just down there. But yeah, they're not evil spirits or anything, but they're scary. Like,
they're scary,
scary as shit. I would be scared. And, she's panicking and freaking out. And yeah, okay, I hadn't thought about that, of like, there's the 3, and then her saying, she doesn't know if it's forward or backward or whatever.
Yeah, and she said that the 2 of them are trying to warn you, or something like that. And so I was just like, oh, okay. Because like the old man isn't threatening; he's reaching out to her.
Just he looks so scary.
He just looks so and Madeline too. I don't know. I don't know if she's trying to help her, whatever she's trying to do. Maybe she's just in a state of distress forever. Because of the way her body was treated. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
But I really liked this movie.
Me too.
I thought it was great. And here's some trivia for you. The movie was filmed at the actual Yankee Peddler Inn in Torrington, Connecticut. The actors, directors, producers, and film crew all resided and ate at the hotel while they were filming to keep production and travel costs down. Sarah Paxton has mentioned rolling out of bed in the morning and being on set within 5 minutes. The older members of the cast admitted that the stay at the hotel was slightly frustrating, as most of the younger crew members liked to party at all hours of the night and the noise would carry. Come on, guys. Come on. Let the old people sleep. The inhaler that Claire uses was actually painted beige and brown for the film, as Ty West didn't like the look of the inhaler that the props department had obtained. The inhaler was set up to spray a candy-flavored breath freshener into Sarah Paxton's mouth, so it could be used realistically, but would still taste pleasant. That's nice. In the scene where Luke puts on the jump scare video for Claire, I forgot to mention that at the beginning, he shows her some, like, again, there's so many little scenes in this movie, you can't really go through every single one of them. You just gotta watch the movie. It's a great film.
Yeah.
But he shows her, like, some real footage that he's just setting her up for a jump scare. Apparently, actress Sarah Paxton was genuinely frightened. Her reaction is genuine, as she hadn't seen the video before, and the shot was only filmed once. While recording the commentary, she still jumped.
Oh,
poor Sarah. Brenda Cooney never once broke character while playing the ghost of Madeline O'Malley. Moreover, Cooney's constant silence while staying in character genuinely unnerved Sarah Paxton. People who just stay in character, I don't think that's necessary. I'm not an actor, but... The film ends in the room that Sarah Paxton, Claire, had been sleeping in. The camera pans to the window and sits for several seconds before the door slams and the credits roll. Yeah, this is where the faintest image of Claire can be seen to turn around. I'll take another look later. I don't think it's there. I don't think that's real.
I don't have any Letterboxd.
Oh no!
Do you want to go to Letterboxd?
No, that's okay.
We can skip Letterboxd for this one.
Just know that it's a good movie. I bet everybody gave it 5 stars.
Must have. I mean, the thing with Thai West films is, and I guess this is probably for all of them to date. I haven't seen absolutely all of them, I don't think, but he like 3/4 of the movie is like setting up, like for the last, like whatever. I mean, not so much in X. I think there's quite a bit. There's a lot of front loading, but there's still a lot of action because it's a slasher, so we get a lot of deaths like throughout, and then there's like, wow, what a finale, But yeah, I mean, usually with this one and with Sacrament and with House of the Devil, there's a lot of front loading, and I think, and I'm fine with it, and but a lot of people aren't. They're like, God, nothing happened. Like, nothing happened to the last 10 minutes. But by that time, I was already like in a coma because I was so bored, So I think a lot of people won't like, I guess, what we can call his older films, because he does take so long setting everything up.
And I think that is, like, for me, House of the Devil was like, I didn't care for the setup and I did not care for the ending. But then, honestly, when it comes to the Innkeepers, I preferred the setup to the ending. Like, the ending, what didn't really grip me that much, but I feel like, I guess you can't call this, your typical horror movie because, or, I mean, what is horror? But, I'm not going to sit here and define it, but I mean,
it's a ghost story, right? I mean, I think this is like set up like a ghost story, and
the parts that I love are just the characters and the.
But I have a question for you. When he comes back and he's like, I have to tell you something, and she's like, there's no time. We got to get out of here. And there's a dead man upstairs. What did he have to tell her?
I don't know. Because he already told her, again, I forgot to mention this too, but that he had once told her that he had seen Madeline, but that was actually a lie. He had never saw her and he just made it up. Maybe, I don't know.
I think maybe he set up the piano gag, or that he, he did the door slam, but that wouldn't be like, I had to hurry back and tell you that. Or I don't know, or that like he really felt Madeline, because in that scene in the basement. But I mean, I think we could kind of tell that
because he looks scared.
He looks really scared, and when the monitor thingy like moves, he goes, whoa, and so I don't know. I really wonder what he had to tell her.
Yeah, maybe it was that something was made up, or I don't know, like,
because one theory is that when she turns around and sees the old man standing there, it's Luke, but she's so like freaked out that she sees the ghost, but there's no ghost, it's just Luke, and that Luke is the one who's pounding, that's what he's, but she thinks it's the ghost
because she's so scared.
Yeah, and she just like gets herself into a state where she.
Yeah, it could have just been something like, this isn't like, there's no ghost here, like, because there is reason to be freaked out because of the dead man who is very actually dead upstairs.
Yes,
and that is, but he even by the end doesn't believe in it. Like, he doesn't believe in ghosts after all this at all. Like, he's just mad at Lee because he really does think she could have. He definitely thinks this was a preventable death and that Lee should have not encouraged her belief in this,
Right. Yeah.
So that could have been it, that he maybe was just like, I don't believe in any of it. Like, none of this is real. Like, stop freaking out,
But he left.
But he did leave.
Oh, no. Anyway. But yeah,
mystery for the ages. Let's rate this. in hits on an old website. Either way, it's not going to be that many hits for your website. But I would give it 4.25 page views.
Okay, I think I would too. We can call it 425.
Ooh, yeah, 425. That's good, yeah. Because I don't think it's a perfect film, but I did really like it, and I think I don't know. I really liked it. I wasn't expecting to like it as much, but I did, and I feel like I could see myself watching this movie a lot.
Me too. Yeah, I lost count of how many times I've seen it. I really like it quite a bit.
We learned. Well, always bring your inhaler, I guess. Bring your plot device inhaler with you, because if you don't, you'll die. And we're going to the basement.
We say it every week. Every time.
If only our podcast had been out in that year.
I know.
Known. Would we watch it again? Yes.
Yep. Do you have a favorite scene?
I mean, I love that scene with her in that trash bag. That was really good. There's so many scenes that I laughed out loud.
Yes.
I mean, any scene with Luke and Claire together, they were great.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite part
they
of the
are really
movie.
great.
Yeah, again, the scary parts were not the highlight to me at all. It was.
Although I do like it when he gets scared in the basement.
Yeah,
but
she's right behind you. That was really scary because you don't see it as the audience.
No, but she does she believe it or not? I mean, she looks scared.
Yeah,
and she goes, holy shit, and there's been this wind sound, and and he's like, it's just the wind. She's like, no, it's not the wind. Like, she's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all really good. And he does such an awesome job in that. I don't like it that he pushes her over.
Yeah.
That to me is just wow.
Why'd you do that, dude?
Supposedly you love this person, but
he loves her.
Well, he likes her a lot, But it's that force majeure thing. It's just man.
Maybe he was I'm not saying this is right, but I'm putting myself in Luke's shoes. He doesn't believe this is real. I don't think.
Right.
Even right. He does not. And so maybe he's genuinely that's an overreaction, but maybe he got so freaked out and is pissed because he thinks that she's egging him on a little bit and is just
okay.
I'm fucking out of here. I don't want to be here. You're causing this. This is causing this. I'm out.
Right. Right.
I'm drunk. I'm feeling you've broken my heart. Again, should not do that. But I think it just was the culmination of everything.
Yeah. That could be.
Who wins the You Fool Award? Claire
also, Bear.
Need to say this movie does pass the Bechdel test. Not many movies do.
Yeah, you said that. How and I was not the coffee shop scene.
It's two women talking about something that's not a male character.
Who are the two women
I think most of the women don't talk about a male character.
Because you texted me, you're 10 minutes in and it's already passed the Bechdel test. So I was just
Lee and Claire talking. I mean, okay, at one point I guess they talk about Luke, but yeah, her and the coffee shop girl, her talking to the mom. I mean, it's a small thing, but just when you realize how many movies don't pass the Bechdel test, it feels significant.
Yeah, okay.
There's so few female characters, but this is very female loaded of a movie.
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah. But I mean, the wife's talking about her ex-husband and the barista is talking about her boyfriend. So, I mean, Lee doesn't talk about any men.
Yeah.
By the way, she lives in North Carolina, Kelly McGillis.
What?
And I don't know if you know who she is, but she was like this hot hottie in the 80s. She was Tom Cruise's love interest in Top Gun, and she was also in a movie called Witness with Harrison Ford. And she was this like, gorgeous babe, but she's a lesbian, and she quit the industry and was like, I'm just going to go like do my thing. She also is like a sober person.
Nice.
And I think we should have her on the pod because, like, she's like a North Carolinian now.
Yeah.
Love her.
Get in touch if you hear this.
Kelly, we love you.
Okay, I guess
All
it
right.
doesn't pass the Bechdel test, but it does have a lot of female.
Well, I think it does. I think it does pass the Bechdel test because we have at least one conversation with Lee and Claire that doesn't involve any men. And they both have names and
yeah, that's true.
All that. Okay, are you ready, Mac?
Let's shut it down.
Thank you for joining us for this episode and for all your support. It means the world of horror to us truly. Next time, we are going to be looking at tech horror. We will be reviewing TETSUO, the Iron Man from Japan, and eXistenZ from Canada. Next up on the Quinnisode is Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte. And next up on the world of foundational horror is Evil Dead Trap from Japan and THESIS from Spain. We would welcome your support in the form of a 5-star rating or review or thumbs up on your preferred listening platform. Okay, you know how they say, like, smash that like button?
Uh-huh.
Has anyone ever said boop that like button?
Boop it.
Boop it, babes! If you're on Facebook or YouTube, we'd love to have you join us there. And you can now subscribe to the podcast. But we will settle for you just telling all your friends all about us. On that, shout out to our WoHos in various area codes. The last episode was downloaded in the US, Canada, Germany, Argentina, and India. If you'd like a specific shout out, please get in touch. Mac, what do you have going on?
Well, as always, you can follow me on Tumblr and Instagram at Macaritaville.
And remember, WoHos, we love you. And don't go into the basement. How many times do we have to tell you?
And if you do,
Claire.
bring your inhaler.
Nice.